My name is David Anderson, and I am the Outreach Director for the International Society for Peace and Justice, a human rights organization. I come to you today during this briefing not only as a representative of a human rights organization, but as a concerned American citizen who cares deeply about human rights and the ability of people throughout the world to practice their religion free from harassment. It is well past time to act and put a stop to the many human rights violations happening in India, which are getting worse by the day. United States government officials must raise this issue forcefully with their Indian counterparts. We cannot have a key member of the Quad, a nation we expect to work with us as a bulwark against the People's Republic of China, and be a partner in economic growth and combating climate change in the Indo-Pacific region, fall into civil strife and genocide. Failure to act now could result in incalculable destabilization in South Asia. We have heard many comments in private from members of Congress and their staffers that they are monitoring the human rights situation in India and are deeply concerned about it. It is great that members of Congress and the Biden administration are concerned, but what are they willing to say about it publicly? Do not wait until there is a crisis to act. As an example, the United States played nice with Russia and the Putin regime for 20 years because no one wanted to antagonize a nuclear-armed state. Now, Ukraine cities are being reduced to rubble. Millions of that nation's citizens have become refugees, while thousands of men, women, and children have been killed in horrific war crimes. The way in which the US and its allies have united in support of Ukraine imposed sweeping sanctions that isolated Putin from much of the world and rushed advanced arms to Ukraine is extremely commendable. And it is heartening to see an otherwise bitterly divided Congress come together to approve military aid packages for Ukraine. But what if? What if our government acted sooner and declared its unequivocal support for Ukraine, that the US and its allies would stand in support of democracy and firmly against autocracy? It's worth asking, could this invasion have been prevented if the West properly armed Ukraine years ago? Have our government representatives stated in no uncertain terms the dire consequences Russia would have faced if they set one foot on sovereign Ukrainian soil? Excuse me. Let's not make the same mistake with India. Multiple human rights groups and NGOs in the United States and other parts of the world are warning of the potential for mass killings and genocide there. India also has a role in the invasion of Ukraine, as the government led by Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the BJP continues to buy oil and maintain military ties with Russia, despite the majority of the civilized world cutting ties with Russia. In December 2021, there were calls to kill 2 million Muslims in India. That is twice the number killed in the Rwandan genocide in 1994. Many Americans, my then 16-year-old self included, did not see the Rwandan genocide coming. In fact, many had not even heard of that nation until news broke in early April 1994 that Rwanda's Tutsi citizens, as well as moderate Hutus, were being killed en masse. Dr. Gregory Stanton, founder and president of Genocide Watch, predicted the genocide in Rwanda, and he has been sounding the alarm about the same happening to Indian Muslims since January. Dr. Stanton has said in interviews that he raised the issue of genocide in Rwanda in 1989 when the government began issuing identity cards that included citizens' ethnicity. He noted that processes such as ethnic identification are an early warning sign of genocide. India, during the present day, is well along Genocide Watch's 10-stage scale for the risk of genocide. Genocide Watch has been warning of the risks of mass killings in India since 1,000 people were killed during anti-Muslim riots in the state of Gujarat in 2002. India is currently a stage 5 organization, according to Genocide Watch's website. Dr. Stanton also noted that at this time in India, there is, quote, persecution, we have lynchings, we have attacks on churches, We have attacks on mosques. We have arrests of Bengali Muslims in Assam. We have arrests of Kashmiri Muslims. All of those early warning signs are already there, end quote. He began speaking out in January after Hindu extremists issued calls during the December 2021 gathering in the city of Haridwar to kill 2 million Muslims in India. Dr. Stanton has highlighted issues such as hate speech against Muslims, the revocation of majority Muslim Kashmir special status in 2019, as well as the passage of the Citizenship Amendment Act that excludes Muslim migrants from gaining Indian citizenship, while people of other faiths who seek refuge in India can seek citizenship. Members of Congress, if you are paying attention now, there's no way you can say later on, well, I didn't see it coming. I have, because we are warning you. We have issued multiple warnings. That is the purpose of this briefing today. So no one in Congress can say they did not see it coming. I have, through my position as Outreach Director for the International Society for Peace and Justice, facilitated multiple meetings with staff members of prominent senators and congresspeople over the past 5 months. We have organized petition drives that netted hundreds, if not thousands, of signatures from the Maryland constituents of Senator Cardin and Van Hollen and Congressman Murfreesboro. I was among dozens of people, Hindus, Muslims, and those of other faiths, who rallied near the Embassy of India in Washington over the Memorial Day weekend to protest and raise awareness of these egregious human rights abuses and assaults on the religious freedom of Indian citizens, all tolerated by the far-right Hindu extremist BJP, the governing party led by Prime Minister Modi. Sorry, I'm on a Zoom call. Sorry about that. I had somebody come in. Our group has called for the restoration of democratic, secular governance in a nation that has long had a reputation for being the world's largest democracy. That is not the case today. Modi's authoritarian government has remained silent while India continues to slide into civil strife. If this slide continues, you can imagine worst case scenarios, including Pakistan invading India to protect the Muslim population. Please note that both countries have nuclear weapons. Another terrifying scenario involves ISIS and other jihadi groups using this persecution as a casus belli to start an insurgency in India. How can India be a stable partner with the US and other Quad allies if it is fighting a jihadi-inspired insurgency in its own country? We at ISPJ have some of the following asks of the United States government. Number one, designate India as a country of particular concern as recommended by the US Commission on International Religious Freedom for the past 3 years. Seek sanctions against perpetrators of these anti-Muslim, anti-Christian persecutions under the Global Magnitsky Act. United States should use its military and economic ties as leverage to improve human rights, pressure India to protect Muslim and Christian places of worship, and revoke the CAA and the National Registry of Citizens. We have the power, we have the might, we can bring the world together to stop this before disaster happens.